Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics as Non-Classic. This episode number 787, Doubleshot number 681. Two more Batman trades. First up, it is Batman and Robin Adventures, Volume 3. Collecting issues 19 and 25 of the series, and in number 2. Yeah, these were the last issues published of the series. Written by Ty Templeton and Ty Templeton, Kelly Pudick, and Hilary J. Botter. Artwork by Joe Stanton, Brandon Carus, and Bo Hampton. The cover art is done by Ty Templeton. Yeah. This pretty much has Batman facing various villains over the course of issues. Like, yes, he does fight Poison Ivy for one issue. He does have a brief encounter with Killer Croc, and the only one he doesn't count. It's like he counters almost everybody here except for the Joker and Penguin. Yeah, it seems like almost everybody. Yeah. Let's see. He also has a counter with the Huntress. Yeah, they introduced Huntress in miniseries, which they give her the regular in-universe look. Her costume. Yeah, if you look at her costume, that's actually her original costume. Yep. Joey Calloway was the guy who created this particular character back in the late 80s, and this was her first costume. Interesting that they threw her in here, but then later on they decided to put her on the Batman. That I don't know if this issue is canon or not, because a lot of these comics are not considered canon, but I kind of consider these books canon because it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it's like the whole thing with Huntress was like one and done, and she was never seen again until she showed up in the Justice League series, where she became a member at the assistance of Batman. Kind of like how in the early '90s that happened too, where she joined the Justice League at Batman's request. Let's see who else pops up in these issues. There's a bet in one issues over who can catch the most villains. There's some issues that just feature Batgirl herself. Let's see. The Riddler pops up in this issue. Yeah, those of you curious though, how many appearances that he appeared on the original anime series, he only appeared for 3 episodes. No joke, he seriously did. He only appeared for 3 episodes. I don't know why. It's one of the most bizarre things. It's like they give priority to other villains, but not the Riddler. Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, there's also appearance by Two-Face. Yeah, he was one villain that got a lot of attention in the Batman animated series. Heck, they even dedicated a whole 2-parter to his origin story of how he became Two-Face. And of course, they also revealed in the show he and Poison Ivy had a relationship prior to becoming Two-Face. Yep. And this is all about him, basically, him and the trick coin. It's a good follow-up to his origin story, but it's really good. Killer Croc. Yeah, that's what Killer Croc looks like on the show. That's what he looked like on the show. Yeah, gray instead of green. I don't know why. If you're curious, though, who created this character, it was Jerry Conway. Yep, and I reviewed the trade that collects his early appearances. Yep. And, of course, we have this character, Summer Gleason, pops up for this issue. Those of you who don't know who this character is, she was a recurring character in one of 2 original characters they had. One of 2 or 3 they had for the animated series. Though I'm a little curious, though, of why in the world they never used Vicky Vale in the series. I don't know if it was legal reasons or Paul Dini and Bruce Timm probably didn't know about the character. They're probably thinking, oh, yeah, we have Lois Lane over on, we'll probably use her on Superman, but okay, we need a female reporter for Batman. Let's just create a character called Summer Gleason. Okay. And of course, she has a boyfriend that she's also a quarterback. Or retired quarterback, anyways. And I'm still a little curious, though, of why in the world they never included Vicky Vale in the series. Because Vicky Vale is a female reporter, and she's had a relationship with Bruce Wayne. She was Bruce Wayne's second ever love interest in the comics. Yeah, and I gotta praise how the writing of this issue, how her boyfriend is written to be very protective of her. Not overprotective, but he does protect her. Basically, how boyfriend should. Heck, he even respects him. He knows who he is. Killer Croc knows who he is, but it's something though that he never got a chance to meet Batman or even Bruce Wayne. It was a great little story. Yep. And we have a story featuring Zatanna. Yep. Yeah, they even threw it in the anime series universe, the training that Bruce Wayne had with Zatanna and her father. Yeah, that's actually was I don't know if it was in the comics first or the animated show, but yeah, they mentioned this also in the comics as well. Let me show you what Zatanna looks like in this comic book in her costume. Yep, this is her outfit. It's a not bad looking outfit. It's not exactly like it's kind of I kind of feel like when I look at this outfit, it feels like it's missing something. Yeah, her fishnet stockings. Though on the Justice League animated show, when she appears on there, she does have fishnet stockings. I don't know why in the world they never included it for, because the fishnet stockings have all been a classic trait of hers. Though I know from the reboot of DC Universe about 7 years ago, they got rid of fishnet stockings for like no reason. I don't know why. And I even like the fact that she and Batman were past lovers at one point, which is nice. They even threw that in the regular comic books themselves. Let's see what else in here. It was all about an amulet. That's what the whole issue is about. Of course, Poison Ivy, obviously. Of course, all about getting a kid who was suffering from poison created by some company, which he helped escape and made a cure for. In case you're wondering, does Man-Bat show up in issues? Nope, he never does. But they do have Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, David Warner voiced this guy in this series. This guy was awesome on the animated series. He's probably by far one of the show's most definitive villains. Him along with Two-Face and Mr. Freeze. They spent a lot of time on this character and adapting classic Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams stories. And that story was actually the last issue of the trade. Overall, really good set of issues. I highly recommend if people are fans of Batman Animated Series to check out this particular series. I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Next up, it is Batman the Dark Knight Detective, Volume 1. Collecting issues of the Detective Comics 568 to 574 and 579 to 582. Those that are curious, though, where's 578 to 575, 578? That's actually part of year 2. Yeah, not the first trade I've seen do this. The Second Chances trade does not include year 1, because that's actually a different story. It's nothing really to do with these issues. Almost all these issues except for 2 are done by Mike Burr. Yeah. With the first and last issues done by, or actually part of 2 different crossovers. The first one is a tie-in to Legends, and the last one is a tie-in to, of all things, Millennium. The artwork in here is done by Alan Davis, Norm Brofberger, who was actually one of the artists of Shadow of the Bat, Jim Belenke, Terry Beatty, E.R. Cruz, Carmine Infantino, and Claus Johnson. It doesn't list who does the cover on here, but this actually is one of the covers in here. And yes, Batman does have a counter with Joker and Catwoman. The Legends issue is, well, what Legends is. Basically a stereotypical thing of, well, people trying to get the heroes because of persuasion by Apocalypse. And they also have appearance by the Penguin. Yep, the Penguin pops up in here. Still wearing his Burgess Meredith look. Yeah, they actually kept the look for a long period of time for some reason, yes. But he's not the only one. In the Batman tie-in, he had an encounter with Magpie. Yep, in 579, it's basically Joker and Catwoman. Makes sense that in the second issue that he would do that, because after all, they made their debut in the same issue, Batman #1, and it's a quick little 2-parter that takes up 569, 570, 560. And this is just really, really good artwork. There's an issue where he counters the Scarecrow for like 1 issue. Yeah, Mike Bird, they also list him as a writer at the Outsiders, which is true. He did write around this period of time. No, I wasn't reading to the comics at this point. You want to know why? Take a look at the release date for this thing. March 1987. I wasn't born yet. Yeah, this issue is it's probably this is the 50th anniversary of the series. Yeah, this is basically the entire issue, not just the Batman story, but the entire issue, featuring like various appearances like Elongated Man, let's see, Slim Brady, Sherlock Holmes, who is very old at this point. Yeah, it's a really good issue. Yeah, this is actually Batman's second time encounter with Sherlock Holmes. He also encountered him in issue 500. No joke, he seriously did. It's a really good issue. Yep. Now, this issue I actually own, believe it or not. Yep, I actually bought this from a shop in Tarpon Springs. An issue encounters the Imposter Mad Hatter. I call him the Imposter Mad Hatter because they revealed this years after this guy showed up. This is not the Action Mad Hatter, because the Action Mad Hatter is actually a lot shorter than he is, and he has no facial hair. This is the Imposter Mad Hatter, and they use this version of the Batman live action series from the 60s, where with him the exception with hats. Yeah, and a lot of his stories were adapted from classic Batman stories. Yep. Yeah, it's all by him basically trying to steal hats. Because that was his gimmick. Yeah, taking Leslie Tompkins, which kind of leads into year 2. And then we have the Crime Doctor. And yes, this guy did show up on the Batman animated series. Yeah, I think this guy just appears for just this one issue. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just basically various stuff with the Crime Doctor. Yeah, a story features Two-Face. Yeah, this at this point, I think this was his first post-crisis appearance of Two-Face. Yeah, for some reason, if you think of Two-Face, a lot of it. Now I think why is part of his face green? The face has a scar. Why is it green for? That is how he was colored back then. I have honestly no idea why. I've never had a chance to talk to Mike Burr about that, or at least any of the artists who worked on him. But that's how he was drawn, because nowadays his scar face is purple. Purple, at least brown. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing with Two-Face actually takes up a good 2 issues in here. 580 and 581. I think this goes to 82, right? Yeah, 82. 82, like I said, is a tie-in to Millennium. Yeah, week 4. And this was done by Joe Duffy. Mary Jo Duffy. The opening issue was done by Joey Calavati, who was actually a longtime editor at DC Comics. He also co-wrote a lot of issues with Jerry Conway on Firestorm. Yeah, he was even the regular writer even after Conway stopped writing the book. Yeah, this is mostly Batman versus the Manhunters. Yeah, that's simply put what this issue is. But it's really, really good. I highly recommend getting this trade if you're a fan of Batman. Like, if you want to get some post-crisis Batman, this is technically his first year right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, first year right after Crisis on Earths happened, so they have this. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5. I think it's really good. Yeah, they have a companion series, Batman the Cape Crusader, which technically is the Batman stories post-Crisis, but it actually does not start with issue 4. It does not start with issue 401. No, it actually does not start there. It actually starts with issue 410, because Second Chances basically starts with issue 401. That trade starts with 401, 402, skips over a few issues, and then it covers pretty much the entirety of Max Allan Collins' run on the book, which lasted for a year before Jim Starlin took over. Yep. Yeah, Mike Burr was the writer for a little bit, and then they had John Wagner and Alan Grant take over the series for a period of time. Yep. I don't know how many trades they're going to do for this one, but it's great, though, that DC finally decided to release stuff from the late 80s when it comes to Batman, because prior to, last couple years, I don't think anybody even, aside from getting these issues individually, which they're kind of hard to find and they're very expensive to get, you're probably thinking, okay, I bet some people were curious, and these issues are really good, and I highly recommend them. Even if you're a fan of The Outsiders, I do recommend this because Mike Burr, the creator of The Outsiders, writes pretty much all these issues except for 2. The opening issue, which is 568, and the last issue, 592. Yep. Those of you curious, though, who did the artwork for year 2. Now, year 2 was written by Mike Burr. The artwork was done by Todd McFarlane. Yes, Todd McFarlane, the creator of Venom and Spawn, and several other a bunch of other characters, and also one of the big time player, also the owner of Todd McFarlane Toys, one of the producers of the Spawn film that came out in 1997. That's Todd McFarlane. Yeah, he did artwork for year 2. This is one of his earliest works. Yeah, one of 2 known popular image writers, people who started Image, actually had their start in comics at DC. Him, Eric Larson got their start at DC. So did Rob Liefeld. Yeah, these 3 all got their start at DC before moving to Marvel, and then started at Image years later. Okay, so that's really it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be episode 788 and Doubleshot number 682. But that will be happening a little later because next video I'm going to do is my review of the newest episode of Boruto. Okay, but to see you in the next episode. Bye.